We are Gold Ivy, a health company dedicated to simplifying health and wellness. Tune in as we search to find the deep, real, and raw truth. We're here to talk big, no room for small talk. It is our mission to inspire, seek growth, simplify the action steps, and build confidence.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold. Are you ready to step into your power? Now is the time. Join us on the fearless pursuit of self-discovery and growth.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production.
If you struggle with digestion, energy, bloat, acne, mood, fatigue, listen up. I spent 4 years, 50 plus doctors, and tens of thousands of dollars to heal my gut so you don't have to. I've created the what to do guide I wish I had before spending years navigating the overwhelming amount of information and conflicting doctors' opinions out in the gut health world. My help, I can't figure out what's wrong with me, the How to Heal Your Gut Starter Kit is now available, and the response to it online has been incredible. On top of what I wish I would have known, I also wish this information would have been easily accessible for me. Because of that, it's available to you on the shop page of our website for only $9.99. Included in my guide is what helped me and countless others heal their gut, along with chronic fatigue, acne, hormone imbalances, and so much more. You'll learn what foods to stay away from, what foods to eat, a 4-week gut healing eating plan, lifestyle tools to aid your healing process, and 2 of my go-to favorite recipes. So head over to our shop page on our website, goldivyhealthco.com, and remember, happy gut, happy life. You can heal. Let me help you. If you're a regular listener of the show, or you follow us on social media, you know I, Brooke, just ran my first marathon, and Andrea ran her 22nd state in her goal to run a marathon in every state. How did I go from barely getting out of bed to being able to run 26.2 miles? A customized training plan and coaching with Andrea. With my health concerns, it was important for me to make sure I crossed that finish line safely and confidently.
We are so excited to announce that we are now offering customized training plans. Whether you're wanting to run a 5K, 10K, half, or full marathon, we've got you covered. Get your customized training plan plus coaching to get you race ready and keep you motivated along the way. Prior to receiving your training plan, you will meet with me, Andrea, for a 15-minute call to discuss your goals, race details, and schedule your 3 coaching calls. You will receive a training plan for your race, tailored to your schedule, endurance, and cross-training preferences like yoga, biking, strength, or whatever movement you enjoy.
Coaching throughout your training will provide accountability, safety, and inspiration to keep you pursuing your training and race goals. With Andrea, you will connect your mind and body to maximize your race experience. And if you're looking for a custom training plan without coaching, we're offering that as well. Head over to the shop page on our website, goldivyhealthco.com, to learn more and get you across that finish line. Welcome back. You are listening to Ivy Unleashed. You are here with Brooke and Andrea, and it's going to be a good-ass episode.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about everything.
We have a lot of catching up to do. Andrea is now repping not 22, but 23 medals from 23 different states of running a marathon.
Yes.
How does it feel?
It feels really good, and I feel like I really earned that one. Specifically, Kansas is so windy. I don't know if it's that windy all the time. I mean, I know the tornadoes and Dorothy and all the things, my favorite movie ever. But there was a wind advisory, and a lot of times I felt like I was running in place. And also they decided, first half of the marathon, let's do it a little bit more downhill with the wind at your back. And then once you're really tired,
let's switch it.
Let's switch it up. And I mean, we were switching different directions, but the signs were blown away. So literally I had there's a scarecrow moment. Like a guy is pointing to me 2 different directions. And I'm like, which way am I supposed to go?
Oh, no.
Because it was so windy. So I really feel like I earned that one. I mean, I earned all of them, but it was really tough. It started raining at one point, and so it was interesting.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like it was required a lot of mental toughness and grit.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's like I knew that going into it. That's why I was so nervous. I was kind of shaky beforehand, and I couldn't calm my nervous system. I had my best friend Britt was with me, and there was a point where she was waiting for me in the lobby to come down, but I wanted to calm my body and my mind before I left, and I couldn't do it because the wind was howling.
Well, you're about to run in a wind advisory, and not just for 5 minutes, for 3+ hours.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
You did the damn thing. Again, check. What's going to be the next date?
I actually don't know. I don't have a plan. So I'm excited. I have some family trips planned and stuff. So just financially, I've done 4 in the last 6 months, and
Yeah, it
that's
ain't
just
cheap.
It's expensive. So I'm going to take a little break, do some family vacays, do, house stuff around my place, stick around, and, send me some suggestions.
I was just going to say, if you guys have a good race in your neck of the woods, we want to come travel. I couldn't make it this weekend because I had a wedding to go to, and it was a lot of fun seeing friends. It was like I was back in college, except this time it was a little different because I was sober. And that's what we're going to talk to you guys about today, is our month of April being sober.
Yes. Yeah. So with Mental Health Awareness Month, it's just really important that Brooke and I are open and honest about what we struggle with. And we feel like that's what sets you free. And when you're transparent about your truths, things that you want to work on, things that other people might be struggling with too, or, avoid talking about, that's what we're all about. And anytime we get feedback from people about an episode, it's always the one where it's nobody talks about that. Thank you for talking about the ugly part of your personality, or the things you don't like about yourself, or your insecurities, because that's what connects us.
I was going to say, that's what people resonate with.
And I just want to talk about alcohol before we even get into our experiences, that, there's the 12-step program. There's all kinds of support groups. What Brooke and I are talking about is this has been a gentle struggle of mine of trying to figure this out. I don't have a drinking problem. Sometimes I give up things to see how mentally tough am I, or what can I learn about myself in this experience? And so if you have a serious drinking problem, or you really feel like you need more support than just the lessons we're talking about, we definitely want to just encourage you to seek out help, to talk to someone about what you're struggling with. Send us a message, and we will post some resources on our blog too, for anybody that's struggling a little bit more with alcohol too.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that we are not providing you with how to be sober, right? And all of the reasons why you need to be sober. That is not our point at all. Andrea and I had a very busy April with running a marathon and launching our Move, our fitness platform,
a photo shoot,
doing early morning workouts on top of working full time, doing a podcast, and all of these amazing gut health things that are now part of my world of helping other people who are struggling with what I once was. And so we knew that something had to give. And something that holds us back is being hungover, staying up late. And, I went sober for 110 days when I was in my healing journey. So I know I could do it. But then there was a lot of things going on. I had a wedding, party bus, all these things that you're I committed to this though. So we set out on this to not only help ourselves physically, mentally, but also as a learning experience, knowing, again, Mental Health Awareness Month, what could we learn about ourselves? And so that's what we want to share with you guys today. So no shame. We're not here to call you out or tell you that you need to give up alcohol. Just want to make that clear.
Yes.
There is no one way to do anything. And this is just our personal experience this month.
Yep. Yeah, and I think a big piece of this puzzle is just kind of how our brain works and why we're thinking about alcohol, why people struggle with it. And I just want to say there is nothing wrong with having the desire for alcohol, because it is deeply, deeply programmed in our brain that it's desirable. It's a way to relax. It's relief.
Everyone does it.
It's sophisticated. You just see it everywhere. And that's another reason why I wanted to dig into this, because I'm a mom, right? And there's alcohol in my house. And to be honest, it's something I worry about. I had it everywhere growing up, and Justin had it nowhere growing up. And I don't think there's one right way to do it. I think every family needs to choose how it shows up in your household. And I think, Justin and I are really all about, like, in each chapter of our life, we're going to assess and see what's right for us. Right. And so it's just that, when you think about alcohol and you think about why it's so easy to grab it, why it's so accessible, it's just our culture. It's deeply programmed. It's something that we see all the time, and it's really glorified.
Mm-hmm. And when everyone around you is doing it, you don't want to feel left out. It's a human need of belonging, of human connection. And so when you don't have that, you're going to feel like the outcast. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is so hard. And so as we're experimenting with this, learning about, like, why is this so hard? Like, it is literally poison when you think of it. And it's altering how we feel to be able to relax. And so in my experience, it just really got me thinking of, what feeling am I chasing? And why can't I have that sober? Mm-hmm. With culture seeing, I was at a wedding. And so, of course, everyone around me. But even back when I was doing this for 110 days, I knew that, and I still know that certain alcohols piss me off. Like, I've had different sensitivity tests that show, like, beer and wine are the enemy. Like, they
piss off your body.
My gut, yeah, excuse me. So I have, like, inflammatory reactions to them, more so than other alcohols, other types of alcohol. And, I'm watching Yellowstone, and the main character, Beth, is, like, drinking red wine, and she makes it look so cool. I'm like, I need a bottle of red wine. Buy a bottle of red wine. Absolutely hate myself. Or I'm here in the neighborhood at Andrea's neighborhood, just drinking red wine, feeling great. And then the next day I hate my life. So it is so deeply rooted in culture, but also, like, our upbringing, not only what we see in the media, but our experience. And coming from small town, Wisconsin cities.
Yes.
It's no different.
Right. Yeah. And this is something that, when I say this, people laugh about it. Like I said, I come from a long line of alcoholics. I can drink a lot. And it's not funny, but I say it. And I realized through this experience too, that we joke about things that aren't really funny with alcohol. Like, that's not a very funny statement, but it is why I can drink a lot. Like, me as a female, I can drink more than most men that I'm around. And that was part of, why I realized I needed to make a shift. 'Cause it's like, I'm drinking so many calories to get to this buzz that creates this feeling, right? And so just trying to be healthier for this marathon, trying to push my body, trying to grow muscle, like, alcohol does not help that.
It doesn't. It makes you feel good in the moment, like, long term when you think about it. And it's funny you say that, because for me, like, I was the same way. I could always handle my liquor, never blacked out. And then I knew it was an issue because I got to a point where I couldn't drink without blacking out. And it wasn't because I was drinking too much, but it was because my body physically couldn't handle it. It was shutting down. And so what I once could have drank, I now couldn't because of what was going on inside, right? Like, those of you who are regular listeners, you know that I've had quite the journey, and I still am healing with mold and parasites and bad bacteria and, all of these fun things that alcohol just adds fuel to the fire. And so, yeah, I could handle it up until I couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. But that was all I knew, which is so messed up to say. It was like I came out of college and then all of a sudden my body shut down on me, but that was the life that I knew. All my friends still are in that age where they're young professionals and they go out for happy hour. And for me, I didn't fit in anymore. And it's, you're around your friends like, it's fine. But it's not fine. Like, you are the outcast, because I don't want to be hanging out in that environment, because then things get out of hand. And instead of you being, your mind is a little twisted and you let things slide, like behavior, you're the sober one saying, I'm choosing to be here. Like, when I could be in bed sleeping, like, it gets to a point where it's not fun without alcohol.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I learned. And it got to the point where I had to put my health before that sense of belonging or create new relationships, which was very hard to do. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because their friend group, that's what they do. Mm-hmm. You relax with each other and you have a bottle of wine or a couple beers and it's normal and it's encouraged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think something that happens too when you're the person in the room that's not drinking is the question of why not? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you drinking? you know, and nobody ever says if you turn down a glass of water, why aren't you having water? Like water makes everything better. All of your body systems work more efficiently. Like we should be wondering why you're not drinking the water.
Yeah. And then I feel like for this wedding, I felt like then I had to justify my reason of why, of like, I'm not pregnant, I promise. And Ian's just in the corner like, oh God. But it's so true. We have to justify why we're not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you are the one that loves to party or, you know, has always been that person, then it's for people, it's a red flag of something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just recently on a party bus. My husband and and the neighbor guys surprised us with a party bus and a concert, which for both of those things, I typically drink pretty heavily. and my brother-in-law is sitting by me at dinner and he's like, I'm just kind of shocked. Like, I thought maybe when you knew this is what we were doing, you would have some. And I just said, well, it's not really like a decision I have to like waver on. Like I made a commitment. I decided, you know, and I think that's different than people that this is their lifestyle ongoing. Like I did this for a month, right? And I haven't decided to like not drink forever, but it did make it a lot easier. Like I haven't had to do that work of what I plan on doing moving
long
forward.
Term, yeah.
Yes. When this airs, April will be done. We're at the very end of April when we're recording this. We have 5 days left. And my relationship with alcohol has completely changed. And I don't know why it's kind of making me emotional. I think it's because it's such a vulnerable thing to talk about, you know, because I'm known as like a drinker. Like I love beer. I love going to beer tastings. I enjoy it. And it isn't something I feel like I have to cut completely out of my life, but I do feel like I learned a lot this month by going on a vacation, by going on a party bus, by going to a concert, by being with my best friend in a different city and being out to these nice dinners and, you know, feeling these urges and sitting with them, allowing these feelings to come in and observe and let them go was really powerful. I feel really strong right now because observing them and not acting on them has retrained my brain.
Sitting in that discomfort, knowing that this too shall pass. Yeah.
And it was especially hard on a beach vacation with like those Mai Tais and rum runners coming right past me. My husband and brother-in-laws and sister-in-law, they were getting them and they're in the pool or they're on the beach. And it was just like, I definitely associate certain places, as we all do, with certain foods, certain drinks, certain activities. And to think about, you know, what do I want my experience to be like here if nobody was drinking, right? Like, what do I enjoy about this experience without booze? What makes me feel happy and smile without something in my hand? And I think you can kind of think about it, but until you do it, it's like these sensations that come in you, right? It's a human experience of being uncomfortable and sitting with it. And what I learned was it does pass, and it passes pretty quickly. I keep saying this and people keep laughing at me, but I really thought there would be more negatives this month than positives. I was like, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to like hate these experiences. And then it made me think, wow, why would I be in any experience if I couldn't do it sober? Why would I be around any person I don't want to be around that I have to drink around? What kind of energy am I subjecting myself to if I have to drink during it? And I do think there's sometimes like you're going to be in situations that aren't ideal. You're going to be around people you're not really a big fan of, right? I'm not saying that life is going to look perfect if you figure this whole thing out. You know, there's always going to be things that aren't ideal. But I do think it like taking a step back and being like, what do I like about being in this location and our activities? Are we liking it for this long because it's kind of blurry and we have a buzz rolling, or is this fun for everyone? You know?
Yeah. I think that a lot of people in my experience, and maybe it's my age group, but are like, that's so stupid. Like, why? You're having fun. Why does it matter? And for me, I almost feel in a weird way lucky because it's like, it's my health. Like I don't have the option. Same for like eating like crap now. It's like a blessing in disguise of I'm forced to eat healthy if I want to feel good. And I'm choosing to feel good over one night of having fun. But why can't I have fun without it? And then those thoughts go through my head, these deep reflections that the people around me aren't having. Or I think that people care way more than they do care. And so I get insecure about it, of being the one that isn't drinking. Until I tell people and their reactions that I could never do that. Like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, thank you. But like, you could do it. I just kept saying to people, like, you could do it. You just don't want to do it. Like, it's such a personal decision, and it is outweighing the pros versus the cons. Like, I've done it before. And so I know how good I feel without it. Like, for me, it's not just a hangover anymore. It's the debilitating anxiety and depression and my stomach being off for a week. And, once you've felt so terrible for so long and then you feel good, it's like you don't want to risk it. But you get in these moments of being out with your friends when that's all you would do together, or you just want to relax. Like, I just want to have a nice dinner with my boyfriend and be drinking a glass of wine. But like, what is it about that? Why can't I relax without some sort of vice? And that's what people look at alcohol as that ticket to relax, to have fun. Like, a point of the wedding, I'm sitting there, I'm like, do I know how to have a conversation without alcohol? I'm like, Brooke, geez, like, enough. Like, you realize that your self-talk and how you talk yourself out of it, I think, was key for me. It was playing in my head what would happen if I did drink. Like, okay, so you have this glass. Then what? Well, then you're like, shit, there goes that. I might as well keep drinking. And then it's just this vicious cycle. That's also something I've learned to myself, is like, I can't just have one glass. I can't just have one drink. If I don't keep drinking, I get so tired and I feel hungover immediately. It's like I keep chasing the high of feeling good. I think it's with any drug. Yeah. But there are things that I learned to help that feeling pass. And it was, what feeling am I chasing instead? Why am I doing this? It is for my health. Thinking about waking up the next morning when everyone's dead hungover and I get to like enjoy my night and think about how it went and actually remember these conversations that I had. That was super powerful. That just being proud. Like, that's all I kept thinking of. You're going to be so proud of yourself. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like, you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you. You can have fun in any situation you're at. Like what you were saying about your environment. Like, what do you enjoy doing? Like, I love to dance. There's a dance floor. I don't need alcohol to dance. I can have some caffeine, stay awake. Like, that was what I had instead. It was like, okay, that was my choice, was caffeine. I'm just going to be awake with caffeine, have a Red Bull, feel good. But even that, like, I know that doesn't make me feel 100%. So it's like still needing something. Yeah. Is what I found.
Well, and I remember when Jen Williams was on the episode, she was talking about how
sugar.
Yeah. It turned and that same thing happened with me. It's like, oh, you'll probably lose weight or you'll probably trim up by not drinking alcohol. And I was like, oh, let me get some candy on this road trip. You need
some, like, do we just have addictive personalities?
No, it's just dopamine. It's that your brain wants that feel good thing. And when you take one thing away, you'll find it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And with alcohol, I think if you've ever given up alcohol and you enjoy it, that on a night like a party bus or a wedding, what you'll notice is you're only really like jealous of the drinking for a couple hours.
Yes.
And then it gets ugly and sloppy and you know, like, oh, they're going to regret that. Oh, they're not going to remember that. And that's part of what would happen with me too, is the next morning I would have like my heart racing and I'd be like, did I talk too much? Did I say something I shouldn't have said? And you replay things you shouldn't have done, or you're unsure if you did, or was that responsible? Or, you know, all of those questions that are criticizing yourself and self-doubt. And I was just getting tired of those feelings and just like wanted a refresh of just waking up for a month with not feeling that and then reevaluating how this is going to look. Because really what alcohol is doing, you think it's like increasing your senses, but it's actually dulling them. Mm-hmm. It's dulling them. So like you're not afraid to go dance on the dance floor without a drink because you don't care as much what people are thinking. You're not noticing who's watching. You're not in tune with your environment as much. So you just literally don't care.
Everything around you is just foggy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if it's a little bit, it's like it takes the edge off or whatever they say.
You know what I noticed too was when I would get talking to people about it, or even just past conversations that I've had. It's the Sunday scaries, the feeling like crap. You have so much fun for, a couple hours that you barely remember. But what you do remember is feeling so crappy the next day, of needing that next drink, whatever it may be. That's like, why? Why is this such a big part of people's lives? Because they don't want to deal with that uncomfortableness.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I'd mentioned with Brooke Castillo's podcast, The Life Coach School, she really gets into why we overdrink.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is nothing to feel shame about, like at all. One, because of how we've been programmed by society, of course. Mm-hmm. But two, like we've learned this programming too by continually going for the drink, getting the dopamine hit, and our brain loves it.
It's a habit.
It's just like anything else. It's like sugar. It's like anything that you know that you do that makes you get that rush. Mm-hmm. And even if it's kind of small, but you've done it over and over. So like I said, it's like deeply programmed in your brain, and it's that animal brain versus the human brain. So the animal brain that is survival and the dopamine and get it, you need it for survival.
Need this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Versus that place of control in your prefrontal cortex. So she explains thoroughly how you can relearn desire, that you don't have to feed it all the time. You can really learn how to kind of plan for things and do this in a way that's really mindful. Mm-hmm. She chooses not to drink because she's really worked on herself and doesn't feel she needs it anymore. She's like, I just don't even have a desire for it. She actually even has a course for it that if anybody wants to take something, Brooke Castillo has one. But she says, learned desire is not permanent. Like you've taught yourself this so many times that you can change it, but it will take that deprogramming. So
you got to learn something else.
Right. So it's like, just like we were saying, you feel the urge, you notice it. You don't have to react to it. You don't have to fight it. Because the second that you do that, it becomes harmful instead of harmless. She says like desire is not harmful. We have all kinds of desires that are like all over the map. And that's normal. You're a human being. You want things and you don't have to go after all of them all of the time. And so it feels involuntary, but it's actually not. It's really something that we can, like we did for this month, we can just take a step back and pause in the moments, make a decision not to.
Mm-hmm. And have something else to do. Mm-hmm. Like I think the awareness with anything is first step. Mm-hmm. And then it's breaking that pattern by doing something else. So like knowing what you're going to drink, or, there was times where I was like, I'm just going to get up and move my body. I'm just going to walk to the bathroom. I'm going to eat a protein bar, do something instead to interrupt that pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And she talks about how to make a decision ahead of time of how much and really honor that, right? So if you want a wild night, you say, I can have 20 drinks. You just don't go above 20, right? You'll probably die, right? So you don't go above 20 and that's your decision. Or you decide, I'm not going above 3. And you do not allow yourself more than that. Because if you do, you're perpetuating the cycle. You're saying, oh, desire, feed into it. Mm-hmm. This is what we do.
You're also breaking your self-trust.
Right.
Right. Thinking of like why we don't have discipline or motivation or confidence. Like it all comes back to keeping those promises that we make to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And maybe it is starting small with, okay, if I go out and I have 10 drinks, well, now I'm going to go out and I'm 9 drinks and then 8 drinks. Or some people do really well with the cold turkey, and others you're just setting yourself up for failure. Right. It's like knowing yourself so well and what you need to do to help stop that cycle.
Or it could also be a conscious decision to never go above 10, even though 10 is like big. Like, I don't want to drink less. I'm actually fine, but I'm going to explore how I feel, right? Like after 6, why do I want those other 4? What is it that I am feeling uncomfortable with? Do I really not have control? And so I'm just giving myself 10 because there's no way I could stop this. Because that's important to just notice. And the whole thing, like you said, is about self-awareness. And what do I like about what I'm doing? Like if I'm going to be a happy, content person, I should be around people that I can be sober around.
And be present. Like if you're actually doing what you enjoy doing, you want to experience it to the fullest. And for some people, they can drink and experience it to the fullest. a lot of people, like, you're not fully present because, like you said, your senses are dulled. You're not fully there.
Yeah. And then another thing about planning, she says, if you do want more and you decide like, okay, 10 wasn't enough, that you don't make that decision then. You wait 24 hours. So you're showing your prefrontal cortex, like, we are in control. This is something that we've thought about. And it's not that it's about control or planning out things to a T. It's more about having agency over your life, over your happiness, your health, what you want, what you need, what you enjoy, the people you want in your life, the energy you want to be surrounded by. I mean, you can keep doing what you're doing and be completely unaware and keep feeding your body alcohol and getting that dopamine hit, but it's just a big blur. And it's just one of those things that if you want to break the cycle, you've got to start noticing.
And it's also, it's quick, right? It's that dopamine hit. Like, you're always going to want more and more and more and more. So although it is making you happy in the moment, you're not happy long term. And that is my end goal. Like, with anything, it's not a quick fix. Like, I know that, yes, it may feel good in the moment, but eventually it's not. Like Jay Shetty always says, the things that are good for us don't feel good right away, and vice versa. And it's so true. But it's finding joy in those, like, healthy habits, right? The things that I know make me feel good. And also curiosity. That was huge this month. And with any change, it's not having shame or guilt, judgment. It's like, why? Okay, what is this? But why?
Yeah.
And just like sitting with it and questioning it.
I think something that's really tough about breaking the cycle, one is the dopamine in your brain, but two is the social aspect of it, because you're with other people that are also getting these dopamine hits. And so they don't want that to stop. They don't want the night to end, right? So they're like, let's just have one more, you know, and not anything to feel bad about. You're enjoying your time. You clearly are enjoying each other in this haze, and you want more dopamine. Of course you do. It's nothing to feel bad about, but it does make it harder when your social circle has been like, let's have one more. Let's have one more.
Like, now it's 2:00 and where a bar's about to close, and like, I'm not going to Uber back to Stillwater by myself in this random hotel. Like, I have to wait. You know, that, I think exactly what you're saying. That's hard when it's your people and this is what they're doing. And so to find new people or to compromise like what you really want to do. Because although I was having fun up until a certain point.
And I think that's why Brooke talks so much about the planning ahead, where she's saying, you know, if you think about these obstacles that could get in the way, like, you decide what you're going to say to people when you're uncomfortable about it. Like, what she says is, I prefer not to have it, because that's exactly how she feels. Like,
and it's none of your business.
Right.
Like,
but people are like, oh, you're not drinking? Nope. Why not? I prefer not to have it. Okay.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to give an explanation. I always say, fail to plan, plan to fail. Like, having that plan in place is so important, because you already have your decision made. You don't have to, you don't have to spend time thinking about it. It is what it is. Move on. And then reminding yourself of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it will be hard.
What's your plan in May?
It's a good question. So at the wedding, and I was like, I don't want to say I'm not drinking. Like, I don't want to have that strict. I want to get to the point where I can have a drink and it can be okay. And sometimes it pisses my stomach off and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we have a drink and it's fine. It's the having one drink and then being so tired, and like chronic fatigue is something that I struggle with and something that I've worked really hard on it. So again, it goes back to like, how do I want to feel? Can I have something else? Like, I went out with a friend a couple months ago and we just ordered mocktails. And it was great. But then like the sugar pissed my stomach off. So I'm like, I can't freaking win. I think it's going into the night with a plan. And so, future weddings. Okay, I can drink. Maybe it's every other is a water. Or it's drinking it really, really slow, which I used to just throw them back. Now it's actually like enjoying what I'm drinking and not just having something because there's alcohol in it and it's going to alter how I feel. I think I'm still learning.
Yeah.
It's definitely like the hardest thing I've had to do with my healing journey, because I know how much it impacts me, but I know how important that social belonging piece is to feel healthy and to be whole. Like, you need to be around people. And so maybe it's going out, but being okay going home alone, which sucks. Like, I want to go home with my boyfriend at the end of the night or my people. Like, I didn't want to go back to a hotel by myself. So I think it's continuing to have those reflections and those conversations with myself of what is really important to me. What do I want? And maybe the compromise, like, I'm willing to compromise staying up a little late.
Yeah.
If I'm going to wake up and not be hungover and just be tired.
Weighing the options out. Yeah, I think it's the question now for me is like, how much do I want to drink and why do I want to drink in this scenario? With no shame on it. Oh, I want to drink because I get uncomfortable around these people and I know that I just would rather have a couple. Or I'm not really in the mood to go here, but I need to. And we're staying overnight and I'll probably have 4, you know, and thinking about why and not judging yourself, but thinking I'm using it. Like, I'm definitely using it. I think it might dissolve some of the drinking to be like, I bet I could do this. I was on a party bus without alcohol. I can do this without alcohol.
Or you get to a point where people are feeling it and you're not there yet. And you're like, I don't want to play catch up. I think that's where I've been in the past too. Of like, we're at different levels and I'm feeling okay, but like my buzz is dying off and I don't want to keep going. Because I do think there comes to a point in the night where you either realize how drunk people are or you're one of them.
Yes, I had that on this party bus situation. I was like, I have never been so happy. And I really enjoyed myself. I watched Teddy Swims, totally sober, enjoyed his music. And I actually compared it to when I saw Beyonce. And I kind of regretted how much I drank during that because I wasn't fully present. I was with Teddy Swims and I love Beyonce. No offense, Teddy, but I love Beyonce more. And then on the party bus, I was feeling great. I was dancing. I was in charge of the music. And I realized, okay, this is what I love. I love being the DJ. I love dancing.
And you're distracted.
Yeah.
You're doing something. I think when you're just sitting there, like, you realize how slow time goes. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to talk to you about anymore.
Yeah, if you think time goes too fast, give up alcohol because it moves so much slower. Like in Florida, the pool days, I was like, wow, it's only 1:00. Like, wow, we don't even have to go back up to shower for like 2 or 3 more hours. Normally that time flies, you know? And I think that giving up alcohol reveals the truth of a situation, an environment, and an experience. And that's what I want to find, you know, regardless of where it goes from here. I think sometimes just, even if it's taking a week off of alcohol, to just reveal some truths to you, some truths about how you feel about environments, being around people, the energy, just to notice. Because if you're drinking alcohol, your energy might get depleted for different reasons. Because like for me, I eat really crappy food when I've had some drinks. And obviously alcohol depletes your energy eventually. You feel like it doesn't in the moment, but eventually it does, you know, and even just noticing how the quality of your sleep. Man, I woke up for our photo shoot. I had to work ahead of time, but it didn't even matter. I was fine. I had plenty of sleep. It was high quality sleep. And I feel like I'm just seeing a lot of these truths of what I want my life to look like, what I enjoy, what I want the experience to look like without alcohol, and then decide if I want to add it to it or not.
Yeah. I think what's hard is for me the idea of I'll just have one, because maybe it's being a health coach, maybe it's my journey of health, but I do know that, yeah, it makes me tired and I can fall asleep, but I'm not getting quality sleep. Or even if I have one, I'm still likely to eat like crap, and I know that with my health I can't afford to do that. So it's like teetering between like that risk of like, is it worth the temptation of, you know, chasing that feeling of relaxing? And so focusing on that feeling for me and having those alternatives is what's saved me, of like having exciting drinks that can relax me, like teas, and drinking it out of a certain glass. So like I still feel that like I'm cool, which is so silly to say, but it's true.
You're used to having something in your hand. Like, what do you do with your hands? You know, so I was drinking LaCroix. I don't even like LaCroix. Like, I just like needed something in my hand like everybody else. And so it helped being the DJ. I had to have a phone in my hand and something to do.
Distractions. But also knowing why you're doing it and being intentional about it.
Something that I also think is really important to bring up is a lot of really cool people do not drink.
J-Lo, Blake Lively,
So many people. Glennon Doyle, Brene Brown, Jen Hatmaker, probably Jay Shetty. I don't know.
But a lot of people that we idolize and look up to in the personal development space who take very good care of themselves are sober.
Who know themselves well and live a really big, full life. And so it's exciting to think about, like, not all the cool people drink, you know? And so pick what works for you. Take from this episode something that you feel like applies and you feel comfortable with. You know, we don't want you to feel judged by us if you drink. We want you to get help if you feel like you have an issue that needs some assistance and needs some support. Alcohol is a really touchy subject. People have all types of different relationships with them. And so we hope that, you know, if you found value in this, you share it with a friend that could, or share the resources that are on our blog with somebody that might need them too.
Yeah. We hope that you take whatever resonates with you and whatever doesn't, leave it. That's what our mission is to share what's working for us in hopes that it inspires, uplifts, and shows you that it's possible for you too.
And thank you for trying not to judge us for all the things that we just said, because this is a vulnerable space to talk about. You know, we talk about everything, and it's a really personal, deep relationship with things that you crave, and there is shame involved sometimes, and you do judge yourself sometimes. And so we just appreciate you being gentle with us because it's a vulnerable space to be in too. And
it's our experience. We're not talking about how you should or shouldn't be. We're just talking about how we feel from our hearts. All right, we're going to get into our 3 gold stars that we have for you. First one, experiment with planning a substance-free day or night and allow the urges to pass through you without judgment. Sit with the discomfort.
2, notice how alcohol is portrayed in the media and your beliefs around what alcohol brings to your life.
And 3, pay attention to the people and environments you feel comfortable to be in without a substance.
All right. And lastly here, our piece of gold today is from yours truly, Brooke and I. The purpose is creating awareness so that you can live a life that's aligned, cultivates joy, happiness, and relaxation without a substance. This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.